moto fans. On this episode of Wheelhouse Garage, I'm going to be riding this 1972 Ossa Mick Andrews replica. This is a 250 two-stroke trials bike. It's an incredible machine modeled after the bike that Mick Andrews rode in competition in the 1970s. If you don't know who Mick Andrews is and you want to learn more about this bike, I did a really in-depth video on it about a year ago. So I'll put a link to that in the description. There's some really cool parts about this bike. Just a couple quick things. This bike uses the motor as a stressed member, so the frame stops here. There's no frame between here and here, and it's got this nice carbon fiber skid plate on there. It's a 250 two-stroke, as I mentioned, 5-speed transmission. It's got this nice chain tensioner here to make the power transition really smooth. It's got amazing geometry, perfectly suited for tight turning on trials bikes. It's just a wonderful bike. I was able to keep the original IRZ carburetor on there with a little bit of tweaking, so it's just a really cool period correct bike. These are wonderful. If you're considering a vintage trials bike, I would really recommend these because you can usually pick them up for like $3,500 to $4,000 US dollars, that is, and they have the controls on the normal side, so brake on the right, shifter on the left, clutch on the left, of course. So it's very easy to transition to one of these bikes. They're super fun, very capable for a vintage trials bike. So hopefully I can show you some of that today. My sons and I have been working on a brand new single track trail on the property, so I'm gonna pioneer that trail with this bike here today, and we got some other fun stuff to ride too. All right, I think I'm gonna throw my helmet on, fire this thing up. But before I do that, just a quick thank you for the pre-orders last week on the Spitfire summer shirt. Really appreciate you guys ordering that. Also wanted to share a piece of Ossa trivia with you. Now, although this bike is green and that logo might look like a four-leaf clover, fun fact, it's not a four-leaf clover. That is actually an escapement mechanism for film because Ossa started out making film projectors. Pretty cool fact there. All right, let's get this thing started. So we'll turn the petcock on, tickle the IRZ carb, same way as an Amel. There's a little plunger there. Left-handed kickstart on this bike. Runs really well. Crackle, crackle. There's a canister of a spark arrestor on there, but pretty sure there's nothing in it. All right, let's see if I can find my helmet. Nothing like the sound and the smell of a vintage two-stroke. Right, let's see if I can remember how to ride these things. Check the tire pressure. I'll tell you, these are not my favorite tires. They certainly look the part. Neutral's a bit hard to find on this bike. I usually have to do it with my hand, but that's okay. Yeah, these are IRC trials bikes, and they look perfect, but they're not that great for traction. So I'm going to grab my Emotion Pro tire gauge. About 6.5 pounds. Most importantly, the back. I'm trying to squeeze as much traction as we can out of that. Okay, I'm going to warm up a little bit. While I'm doing that, here's a little info on the trail we started this week. I hate to admit it, but we talk about building trails in our house more than we actually do it. So this week my son and I decided we were going to make a change. And we got tools in our hands and got to work. If you've never built a trail by hand before, it takes a ton of work, even if it's just single track. But you just put your head down, swing the shovel, and keep moving. Chainsaws are a huge help, and I have to say that I really like smaller saws for this type of trail clearing. Day 2, we're back at it, and my youngest son joined along too. The kids are on the McLeods, and Dad's back to cutting trees. After a few days and a lot of work, we ended up with something that looked a lot like a single track trail.
Dork. This looks like more of a natural trail.
My lovely wife behind the camera says that this looks like the better place to make a trail. So let's see how far we get.
Never mind.
No, she's right. That is a good spot for a trail. We started on this end. We're building a bridge right here, but it's under construction, which means I got to turn around now. Something. I always look at that and wonder if I could make it up that.
You were looking at it like you were gonna go up.
I should probably throw a shovel on it first. This part will launch me up a little bit. I would do it on the Cub. How funny is that? Because the front end is heavier. This one, the front end is so light that I'll have a hard time keeping it on the ground. All right, we'll save that one for next time.
Good idea.
I'm gonna go down this steep part right here and then try to do a tight turn at the bottom and then come up a little trail to the right. See how it goes.
Okay.
Nice. Well, that's finished trials. It's so much fun to screw around on these old bikes just on something as simple as this. I mean, that is not a very big footprint right there, but just tweaking it, finding something, creating a little route, and then seeing how well you can do it over and over. It's very challenging. I've got a sweat worked up here, so it's good exercise too, and the technical training basically gets what's the word I'm looking for? It translates to almost all styles of riding. So slow riding is awesome. If you don't have a vintage trials bike, try to get one. They're pretty darn cheap, but yeah, they're fast too. I'll show you how fast they are. Flip it into dirt bike mode. That was so much fun. Oh man. Thank you guys so much for watching these silly videos every week. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and buying t-shirts. You guys are the best. I'll have another one for you next Saturday. Until then, ride fast and ride hard. Cheers! Thanks so much for watching that video. Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning for more fun and adventures. There's over 30 motorcycles to check out on the Bike and a Beer series, and we now have t-shirts available for sale. Follow along for some epic adventures in the High Sierra on all types of rare and incredible motorcycles. There's a workshop element to this channel too, as I do a lot of my own mechanical work. I'll share all the tips and tricks I've learned, show you all the tools I use to get it done, and there'll be some exciting new products to promote as well. So join in every Saturday morning, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Thanks.